Hello, our space fam. Welcome back. In this episode, we've got a story that just doesn't understand how she, a 40-year-old female, how does she cheat on me, a male 41, with so much ease? Let's see if he gets to the bottom of it. I'll bet he finds out. My wife and I have been married for over 11 years. I recently discovered that she has been cheating on me for months with an ex-colleague. She was laid off a few months ago due to COVID, but my freelance job is still on, and I make enough. Yesterday, she went out in the afternoon stating she just had to get out and see her girlfriends. I've been suspicious for a while now, so I go through her phone when she uses the bathroom. It was laid out in horrifying detail. Him telling her he reached the restaurant, her replying him to order appetizers, her even sending money to him to cover her part of the bill, etc. He left the restaurant to check in a nearby motel and messaged her when he had, and she followed a little later with a bottle of vodka and a six-pack. Later that night, she messaged him, "You are so naughty," and him replying, "So I guess you liked it better this time, huh?" I took pics of all these conversations. I did not disturb her the whole day. My stomach is in knots, though. I could not even think of her being this horrible person. We've had a good marriage, a few arguments here and there, but nothing significant. She has been a great wife otherwise, and an excellent mother to our twin boys, aged 8. It was amazing to watch her go through her nightly routine as if nothing happened. She came back with burgers for herself and the kids. I told her beforehand I would have a homemade salad. Talked them in, came to the bedroom and applied her usual night cream, and lay down and asked me what I did since she was gone. I managed to mumble an answer, asked her about her friends. She told me a made-up story and turned to her phone. I guess that is when she sent him the naughty message. She's preparing breakfast now. We woke about an hour ago, and she hugged me with a breezy "morning" and went to brush her teeth and wake the kids. I am so numb. I cannot believe she cheated so blatantly and now acts as if nothing has happened. I'm off to meet a lawyer later today to begin the separation process. I just cannot get how shameless she can be. I will follow his advice as to how to rip the Band-Aid off, but I want some insight into her thinking. How does one be so calm, so nonchalant, and act this happy? I'm getting angrier by the minute. That was a good start to a story. Let's see how the update goes. On Friday, I finally did it. I came up with a plan and executed it with my lawyer's approval. But here's what transpired till then. 1. Got a STI screen done as advised. Clean. 2. Got a paternity test for both my kids. Results expected on Monday. Hired a PI. An XPD. Expensive, but so worth it. Shopped around in 2 to 3 firms for a lawyer, and found a real fire and brimstone type who was well referred, who hates cheaters. Again, expensive, but worth every penny. 5. Have a buddy, let's call him Matt, from my school days, who is my age and has chosen never to marry. Lives alone, an absolute unit, ex-military, works in cybersecurity, confided in him fully, and held all my meetings at his place. 6. My sister and her family live on the other side of town. Told her last, when everything was almost set into motion. She is my older sister and fiercely protective of me, and would jump in with both feet if I had told her sooner. I just needed her to keep an eye on my kids. I sent them to her place for a few days. Voice-acted recorder installed on her car. Tucked an older iPhone in the seat pocket for good measure. Location taken care of. About 2 days after I first posted here, she met him again. Same pattern, same restaurant, same seedy motel room. This time, had one of her single girlfriends, let's call her Beth, accompany her for lunch. The PI was ready. Got me pics and vids. Them having lunch, Beth was flirty with the affair partner and even proceeded to touch him a few times. They saw her off and headed to the motel together. There is just one motel close to the restaurant, and the PI did his homework. After being given the room the motel receptionist was asked to give them, they got busy. PI got a few shots of them and sounds too. Music to my ears. She came home calm and collected, proceeded with her night as though nothing had happened. Had a chat, talked about how Beth was going through a crisis, blah blah. I empathized and told her about work and my aunt, wherein she said she might visit her. Next day, met the PI on the pretext of meeting a client. Got a download. Hit the booze hard that night. Checked my guns. That always calms me down. The next day was spent with meetings with the lawyer. A client, this time for real, checked on my aunt again and came home. Nothing out of the ordinary. The very next day, she met him again, which was rare. She would meet him once a week, and that was it. PI listened to the convo in the restaurant and was able to discern that the affair partner was expected to travel for a week later that week, which was the very day I had planned to serve her. All this time, I did not touch her, besides morning hugs and goodnight kisses. This revolted me to no end, but I had to play the part. I must say this. I served her on Friday and could not sleep a wink on Thursday night. I would look over and over at her sleeping form next to me and wonder if I screwed up somehow. Was I to blame? I knew I wasn't, but she would make me the culprit somehow. I ran every situation in my head 1,000 times, woke up at my usual time, and had 2 espressos instead of my usual 1, and popped a modafinil. That is when she dropped a surprise. She was going out that day. That's the 3rd time this week. Does Beth really need you that much? No, Beth's fine. It's my mother. She has to see a doctor for her joint pains, and I said I would take her. Yay. When do you plan to take her? In the evening. I will leave earlier, though. I might have lunch there. I said that's a good idea. And it was normal, as since she was fired, she would have at least 1 meal a week at her parents'. But a quick call to my lawyer from the safety of my den confirmed the best time to serve her. When she was with her parents at their place. Her brother and his family were visiting too. Even better. I got back to work. Called the PI home for one last download. He made copies of all evidence by then. I kept one in my safe. Sent the twins to my sister's place across town. Packed all her stuff in giant trash bags I bought the day before. The server confirmed via text about 3 p.m. that she had been served. I calmly waited by the phone. The call arrived at about 3:20. Blah, blah, blah. What the hell? Sounds of mother-in-law crying in the background. Father-in-law yelling something, not clear. Me in as calm a voice as possible. I need you to read everything that was sent carefully and come over. Alone. Now. I disconnected the phone and switched it off. Unhooked the landline too. She arrived. Along with Beth. I asked Beth to leave. Soon-to-be ex-wife said she needed her to stay. I calmly repeated that she had to leave and that she was never welcome in this house ever again. A dictaphone was recording everything, so I wanted to be quiet yet firm. Beth said, I'll stay in the car, and left. Beth was the instigator of my soon-to-be ex-wife's infidelity, so I wanted that witch out. Besides, she had no place in our family home anyway. I sat soon-to-be ex-wife down, gave her the PI's file, told her I knew everything. She went through the file. She looked pale, as if she saw a ghost. She said she was just helping her get a job, which is why she met him. All right, how about this? Played the sounds of passionate lovemaking. Her jaw dropped to the floor. Showed her printouts of her tech with her affair partner. Showed them pics of them kissing in his car, walking around hand in hand in the mall. You went through my phone? I think you have bigger problems than that now. I smiled. I proceeded to ask if there was anyone else, not that it mattered. She said no, there wasn't. Proceeded to show her raunchy texts with another guy and woman. Looks like my beloved was sampling the other side of the buffet as well. She sobbed, bawled, curled into a ball, offered an explanation about being lonely, but I cut her off. I just wanted her to get the hell out. I need you to leave. Your stuff is in trash bags in our bedroom. Take them and go. This is my home too. It ceased to be your home when you cheated on me and our sons. I lost it for a second there. Gathered myself, told her again that she was never welcome here and should go now. Gave her the file. Told her again to leave. Get legal representation. She nodded quietly. At this point, I did not need anything. No explanation, no closure, just needed her out. She said again it was her home and she was not going anywhere. Then I said, if you stay for another minute, I'm going to call the twins via video call and tell them precisely what you did. And my sister will fill in the gaps as and when needed. She said, you cannot turn my kids against me. I said, I will if you do not leave this minute. Luckily, she did not call my bluff and stumbled out of the door, file in hand. She mumbled that she will be back for her stuff later. I called her parents and asked them to look at the file. Go through all the sound tapes too in the pen drive for good measure. That woman, Beth, was still waiting. They left. Drove to the affair partner's place with a copy and met his wife. She is 5 months pregnant and had absolutely no idea. Showed her the file. Played the sound tapes. I must say, it was oddly satisfying watching her face crumble. She is a sweet girl, but I just had to let her know. When she began hyperventilating, I calmed her down, got her a glass of water, and asked her to call if she needed anything, and left a file with the contact details of my lawyer's firm. The affair partner is returning today. She is undecided as to the future course of action, but said she will talk to her family and decide. Got home, spoke to the HR at affair partner's company, my soon-to-be ex-wife's ex-employer, took her email ID and told him she would receive a copy as well. She was empathetic enough. That is when it hit me. When packing soon-to-be ex-wife's stuff, I chanced upon a bunch of photo albums that had everything. Her and I dating, a wedding album, a scrapbook she made when we had our twins, trips and picnics, etc. I tossed them on the bed when I was packing the bags. Now I went through them and cried my lungs out. Spoke to Matt and my sister. Went on a drinking spree. He came by to check in sometime later, and I just hugged him and cried. Sobered up and saw that I had a healthy number of missed calls. Spoke to the father-in-law. Told him what my terms were. There would be a divorce, no trying to get back together, no couples counseling. His loving princess had screwed up, and that was it. I would keep the house and pay her off. As for the kids, if she decided to be too demanding regarding custody, I would fight to the end. Asked him to advise her against an adversarial divorce, else she and the family would be outed in every way possible to the seediest folks across the state. He mumbled an apology and hung up. Her brother dropped in with a pickup truck the next day to take the trash out. Said she will live with them for a while. He could barely make eye contact while talking. And yes, made yet another copy of everything. My lawyer's firm has it, and they will hand it over to my sons when they turn older, along with a handwritten note from me. Just for caution in case something happens to me. I wouldn't want them to miss out on mommy's dearest shenanigans now, would I? That's it then. Almost underwhelming in the end, but worth it. Heard rumblings that affair partner is already in trouble, and expect to hear more soon. I will update whenever something substantial comes up. I have taken a week's break from work, so I'm just now chilling in an empty house with the bar fully stocked and playing my favorite records. This took a while to type, and just thinking about it again is massively overwhelming. Thank you again, everyone. Talk about professional level execution. Oh, but wait, there's an update. Not much has happened since. Matt and I have just returned from a hunting trip, my first in a while. It helped a great deal. Affair partner has been fired from his job. Not sure if he will be dumped too. I doubt it though. Affair partner's wife looks like she is the forgiving type, and she has not gotten in touch with me or my lawyer since I met her. Beth has distanced herself from soon-to-be ex-wife and is thinking of moving out of town. And soon-to-be ex-wife calls every day asking for forgiveness and has left numerous teary messages. I listen to them and delete. My kids know that something is wrong, but are satisfied with the explanation I gave them. My sister's home is an empty nest, so she is more than happy to take them up for a day or a weekend. Soon, this will end. We'll send them to their mothers this weekend, the first time since she was thrown out. We'll update as when things happen. Alright, time to check in with the community. First up, throw a viral email. First of all, congratulations on your plan and execution. Normally, it is the innocent partner who gets ambushed and manipulated. You saved yourself a lot of pain this way. Having stood where you now stand, but without advice and support, I learned a lot the hard way. May I suggest cleansing? Cleansing takes all forms and is subtle. For me, it was a huge surprise that I felt totally elated some years later when she remarried and stopped using my surname as a result. That was cleansing that was out of my control. I respectfully suggest to you now that you look around the house. If something, any possession hurts you when you hold it, or it brings back memories, then trash it. Apparently, burning stuff has a good effect, like burn the marital bed, etc. Get rid of her curtains, etc., as they were her color and her pattern choice. Repaint walls in your colors. Throw out floor rugs that she chose. Become yourself again. You as an attractive and well-rounded man. There are many steps towards healing, like going full no contact. Also, full no contact with anyone who supports her. They will make you feel bad. Realizing that it's not your fault, and more. Part of marriage is compromise, so turn around and start enjoying the stuff you stopped doing due to compromise. Go travel. I went to the UK and Bali in Indonesia. Do activities that bring back fun and your sense of adventure. I went whitewater rafting and then learned to paraglide. Most of all, do stuff that is fun for you. Don't drink for a while and seek out a good friend who will listen to you as you blurt out stuff again and again. The same old stuff as you slowly recover. I wish you happiness. It will come to you. The OP's response? That sounds like great advice. I might not implement all of it, but a few things will be tossed or burned for sure. As for traveling, that might have to wait for a while. I have always wanted to visit Scandinavia. I might go when the time is right and fares are low.